project and forget about timing the market?
I think the most successful tactic for profiting and speculation is to hold because timing is extremely hard. I mean, I called the top on a day. Almost no one can do that, and I did it 2 cycles, and it's like nearly miraculous. Like no one else can do it. So but how many people could have held from like earlier? Like, look, you've got an asset. Like let's take Ethereum. In the COVID dip, it went down to 88. Then it went to 5,000. Any idiot could have held for any period of time there, and we never went back to 88. Lowest we got over the last like 2 years is 880. So even a complete idiot that bought the bottom is up 10x, even if they sold the next bottom, right? Not that
But
880
how
is
do
the
you know?
bottom,
But
but
how do you know you're hodling or you're diamond handing an
product market
Ethereum, not
fit,
a?
product market fit. So if you have something that resembles a game, people will tend to get bored of games. That's part of the reason that I'm not bullish on NFTs. You can like, there's a bunch of reasons, but that's one of them is that, things that are game like, people will stop playing. But things that are more financial like and have a more boring sales pitch and aren't Rube Goldberg machines tend to have more longevity. So if you want a couple technical ways to predict how much longevity a thing will have, there's something called the Lindy effect, which is the longer something has been used, the longer it is likely to continue to be used. That's one way. So something like that would tell you that Bitcoin is likely to be around for a very long time. The problem with that particular measurement is that it doesn't tell you at what price point. So you can still find cassette tapes if you want, but they're not a growth industry, nor are CDs, nor are records, nor are bards coming and playing in person for you. So the way that I like to know that what I've got is the right thing is product market fit. Are you on-ramping new users? Is it a durable walled garden? Is there a first mover advantage? Is it a durable first mover advantage? How's the logo? How's the community? Are people getting tattoos of it? Is there something that locks them in for a very long time? So, in Hex, there's a guy that's got a tattoo of my name over my logo on his chest. I tried to follow him once on Twitter. He didn't like it. I had to follow him again. So, when you've got people tattooing their body and locked up for 15 years, average stake length in Hex is 7 years. These people are not going to defect. So what happens is as soon as someone sells their Bitcoin, all they say is evil things about it. As soon as someone sells their bag of anything, they want to buy back lower or just not feel bad ever missing gains again. And they just savagely crap talk the thing. Elon Musk secretly bought Bitcoin, pumped it, said you could buy cars with it. Then he secretly dumped it, quote, testing the liquidity, and then said, oh, this is bad for the environment. We're not going to let you use it for cars anymore. And so he bought it, pumped it, dumped it, and then trash talked it and savaged it afterwards. But he didn't even need to do that. You're telling me the rocket scientist didn't know it used electricity? I don't believe that at all. The computer science major knows that it used electricity. He's lying. So, and look, I just bought one of his Model X plaids for like 150 grand. So I'm still willing to buy his cars, even though he's shady in crypto.
So I've got look, quick question. You said you're against NFTs. I want to give you 3 NFTs. Tell me if the utility makes sense or not. So one of them is Etihad is doing an NFT. Now I know you might say you don't need an NFT for this. You could just use a centralized system. But would you, doesn't harm to use an NFT for something like giving you access to like business class at a discount or to the lounges?
Look, this particular thing, I am not a tax advisor or an accountant. And so I'm weary of giving this type of advice. But if somehow you found a mechanism by which things you may normally be taxed or taxed in a different way, then, that's on you, right?
So I got 3 examples.
Imagine a world where no longer you purchase anything, you just buy the NFT for it. It's like, hey, you know what? I was going to buy this car and pay sales tax on it, but instead I bought the car FNET and they just let me drive it all the time and there's no tax. It's like.
And I think tax regulations will catch on. But from a utility perspective, I got 3 examples, and funny enough, they're all 3 sponsors. But like, you might say you don't need a blockchain, you don't need to decentralize it. But like this one is a museum. It's a real museum in the metaverse. Now, experiencing a museum without having to travel to a country. I know it's a metaverse. the art in that museum could represent an NFT, showing it's a digital representation of the real thing. Would that utility make sense for an NFT? That's my second example.
So like when I'm on Pornhub, am I actually in a virtual museum? Because I mean, looks pretty good in there. I like what I'm seeing. I
Yeah,
mean, like it just you're just renaming you just basically you just have a website with pictures on it, but now you renamed it and it's now the metaverse. You're like, no, bro, it's a website with pictures on it. You're just renaming it. That's silly. So look, I mean, look,
okay,
you might make money with any of these businesses, but like I think the idea of like you just renaming websites is a silly idea.
fair point. Charlie, I'll give you the mic back. The next confession, man. Sorry, we digressed a bit. We do that a lot when Richard
Do we
jumps
do
in.
all three? I only heard two. Wasn't there three
Yeah, we
NFT
got
ideas?
the third one, and I'll give you that one, and then we'll go to Charlie's next confession because I know he has to jump off. The last one is I think that one you I think last time you agreed. I think it was you that agreed that it made sense, and it's one of my favorite. People experiencing the metaverse. Obviously, you wear a lot of beautiful clothes, beautiful brands to signal a certain identity, and you've talked about it as well. Wearing that same thing in the metaverse, would you agree that makes sense? So an
Well, I mean,
original Dior bag.
we've already seen that successful with gun skins and Counter Strike. We've seen it successful with hats and Team Fortress
I agree.
2. I
I agree.
mean, we know that people will overpay to signify. I mean, I got $1 million of Bulgari jewelry, so like people will do that, and if you can do it digitally, there's actually less negative externalities. Although I think it reduces the durability of the walled garden because like so like I've got a Jacob and Co casino watch. It's like 650K, and there's only 88 of them. And then they're like, well, we're gonna release a version that's black. We're gonna release a version with this other little change. And then they like dilute the market by releasing these little special edition ones. Well, it's like, bro, that's coming out of my pocket. Like every time you guys release another one of these things, you're competing with me if I ever want to sell it. And so like the thing that I worry about in these digital products is that the thing that makes them have less negative externalities is also the thing that makes them so they don't have a good walled garden.
Good
You
point.
know,
Good point. Well, then
yeah.
again, branded t-shirts not that big of a walled garden. Manufacturing t-shirts easier than a digital t-shirt, but still, it's a
Well,
fucking
you'd think
t-shirt.
that, but
But I
I paid $900 for t-shirts rather often, and I wouldn't buy them if they were $9, which is probably what they cost to make. It's like there's something magic that goes into these brands.
exactly. All right. So, Richard, if you want to stay right after the confessions, we're going to do the pitches. We've got two pitches today, and I think two of the projects I mentioned will be pitching. So it'll be your first time coming on. It's like a Shark Tank like pitch, and I think it'll be good to have you there. Also, I'll DM you the Discord link. Discord is spamming us to try to get you on there. So if you want to peep in, I think they'll go a bit
Have you
crazy.
guys noticed that like every time I join, Tone Vase runs away? It's really weird.
I know. I try not to bring it up. But Charlie, do you want to go to the next confession, man? And thanks a lot for being patient with us.